Joe Neguse demanded answers from Doug Burgum during a heated exchange over federal contracts, Juneteenth, and the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool project leading to one sharp moment. Explain it to me.
Gentleman's time has expired. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Colorado, Mr. Neguse, for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being here today. I want to start first with a letter that myself and Senator Michael Bennett of Colorado wrote to your agency on April 29th. This was a letter of April 29th of this year in regards to the historically low snowpack that we're experiencing, as you know, in the Rocky Mountain West, including in Colorado. Obviously, very concerned about the wildfire season that is upon us. The letter makes a number of requests around pre-positioning assets, extending federal contracts for aerial resources. I would just ask for your commitment to respond to that letter, if you might be willing to make that commitment.
Yeah, absolutely, and appreciate your attention to this. We are facing a potentially dangerous situation with the low water levels in the Colorado River Basin relative to wildfire, and that's why, again, we appreciate all the support we can get from you in unifying the new U.S. Wildland Firefighting Group. That's going to allow us to have essentially a joint chiefs of staff that can make the command and control decisions that you're asking us to look at.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. We look forward to your response on that front. I want to follow up on a point that the ranking member referenced. This is in regards to a decision that your agency made last year in December, as you know, removing the 2 federal holidays that honor Black history from the free entrance day list for the National Park Service. You're familiar with that decision?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I believe those 2 days, by the way, are Martin Luther King Day, as you know, and Juneteenth. It's my view that Juneteenth provides all citizens with an opportunity to really recommit ourselves, renew our commitment to equality. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess part of my confusion about why, given your agreement on that front, given the fact that as governor, you proclaimed Juneteenth back in North Dakota several years ago, why you would now allow the agency, or I presume you were involved in that decision, to remove those 2 holidays from the list. It just strikes me that that is not consistent with the view that you just articulated. And I would urge the National Park Service to reverse that decision. I think it is short-sighted, and I don't think it's in the best interest of the country. I recognize my colleagues disagree with me on the other side of the aisle, perhaps some of them, but that's my view. I want to ask you about one last topic.
Can I just say, I want to make sure on that topic that we understand that no one is changing these holidays, the holiday designation, whatever. There was an ability to choose free days, and part of that was, where do we space the free days? Where do we put them? Do they match up against weekends?
Yeah, Mr. Secretary,
and again, trying to get more of those days into the summer months when we have higher visitation.
I hear you. At the same time, I think you could understand how many Americans would perceive a decision by your department to remove Martin Luther King Day as a free entrance day, the National Park Service. I just, at the end of the day, again, we'll have to agree to disagree on that front, but I will move on. Are you familiar with Atlantic Industrial Coatings?
I'm not familiar with that.
So Atlantic Industrial Coatings is a company. Are you familiar with that company?
You're saying Atlantic?
Atlantic Industrial Coatings, correct? Are you familiar with it? Or?
I'm not familiar with Atlantic.
Okay, Atlantic Industrial Coatings is the company that received a no-bid federal contract for the project at the Lincoln Memorial Reflective Pool. Are you familiar with that now?
I'm familiar with that project, yes.
But not the company?
I wasn't familiar with that specific name of the company.
Okay. You're familiar with the fact that a company received a no-bid contract to do the work on that project, correct?
I'm familiar that we're working on a project to restore the reflecting pool before the summer season with record attendance, yes.
Yes, and that was through a no-bid $13 million contract, right? That's not up for debate. That's a fact.
I'm positive that we followed all of the required bidding rules. So you're emphasizing the word no bid like something nefarious has happened.
Okay, then explain it to me. Here, I'll ask you the question. My understanding of the federal procurement rules is that a no-bid contract is reserved for situations where, quote, any delay would cause serious injury to the government. What is your proposition is what? That there'd be serious injury to the government if this company didn't get the $13 million contract to do this particular project right now?
Well, I think we do have a sense of urgency. I mean, we got handed a record amount of deferred maintenance. We had 19 fountains across the city that didn't work.
That's the serious injury to the government? The serious injury to the government?
Well, I suppose a lawyer could decide that, but I think that maybe all of us could agree that we would want to have our nation's capital looking great for the 250th. I mean, this is a common sense decision.
I would say, just last question, who picked this company? Because President Trump A few months ago, in a New York Times article said, I have a guy who's unbelievable at doing swimming pools. He looked at it, he called me up, he said, sir, we can do something on it. Last night, he posted on Truth Social, also, I did not give out the contract, Interior did, to a contractor I did not know and have never used before. So Interior, he's talking about you. Did you give this $13 million no-bid contract to this company that's never done business with the federal government before?
The gentleman's time has expired.
I think the Secretary can answer the question.
The gentleman that you're talking about that has done construction work regarding pools and fountains for President Trump is not part of this contract. He's just a citizen that cared about it and offered some free advice. There's nothing there in terms of any dollars flowing to anybody that worked for President Trump.
Who picked this company? That's what I'm getting at.
The National Park Service and the leaders on the National Mall are the ones that picked it. They went through the process, picked the person that was best, and part of their selection process was picking somebody who had the capability to complete the project in a time frame and in a budget that would actually fix the problem. I mean, there are past presidents that have worked on this thing. It's been shut for 2 years. Read the article. There was $38 million spent on this between 2010 and 2012, and it was never fixed. I mean, this is
we're going to move on, and some of these questions, if you want to refer or answer them in writing when there's more time.
Congressman Joe Neguse delivered a pointed and aggressive line of questioning during a House hearing with Interior Secretary Doug Burgum, focusing on concerns ranging from wildfire preparedness in the Rocky Mountain West to a controversial no-bid contract tied to the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool renovation. While the hearing began on a relatively cooperative note with discussions about low snowpack levels and wildfire risk in Colorado, the atmosphere quickly shifted once Neguse turned to decisions made by the Department of the Interior involving federal contracts and National Park Service policies. One of the first contentious moments came when Neguse challenged Burgum over the removal of Martin Luther King Jr. Day and Juneteenth from the National Park Service's list of free entrance days. Neguse argued that removing those holidays sent the wrong message and conflicted with the values of equality and inclusion. Burgum defended the decision as part of broader scheduling considerations aimed at maximizing park attendance during peak summer months, insisting the holidays themselves were not being diminished. Still, Neguse made clear that he believed many Americans would view the move negatively, creating a visible clash over symbolism and public perception. The hearing became significantly more heated when Neguse shifted his attention to the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool renovation project. He questioned Burgum about a $13 million no-bid federal contract awarded to Atlantic Industrial Coatings, a company Neguse suggested had little prior federal contracting experience. Neguse repeatedly emphasized the phrase no-bid contract, arguing that such agreements are generally reserved for emergency situations where delays could seriously harm the government. Burgum pushed back hard, rejecting any suggestion of wrongdoing and framing the project as an urgent effort to improve the appearance of the nation's capital ahead of major upcoming events and tourism demands. As the questioning intensified, Neguse directly referenced comments made by President Trump about knowing someone skilled in pool construction who had reportedly offered advice on the project. That led to perhaps the sharpest exchange of the hearing, with Neguse repeatedly asking who exactly selected the contractor and whether political influence played any role in the process. Burgum insisted that the National Park Service independently handled the selection and stressed that no money had flowed to anyone connected to the president. He also argued that previous renovation efforts had failed despite millions already being spent on the reflecting pool over the past decade, making the current project especially urgent. The confrontation highlighted broader political tensions surrounding transparency, federal spending, and public trust in government contracting. Neguse framed the issue as one of accountability and oversight, while Burgum portrayed it as a practical effort to finally solve a long-standing infrastructure problem before America's 250th anniversary celebrations. By the end of the exchange, neither side appeared satisfied, but the hearing succeeded in drawing attention to how even restoration projects at iconic national landmarks can quickly become politically charged battles in Washington.